getting loads of requests on how to grow food all of a sudden. You can probably work out why. So I want to show you how to grow radishes and chard and spring onions in one little tub using succession sowing. Some radish Diana. You harvest these quite small, which is why they're pretty good for growing in clumps. So first I put them into modules like this, quite large ones. And also you can see there's like 3 or 4 in each. So you literally just put a hole in each one, and then you put 3 or 4 seeds in each. And at first when I did it I thought, well, are they not going to clump together and kind of strangle each other out? But they don't, and actually what happens is the outside ones, I've done a few here, the outside ones are generally ready to harvest because they're on the outside and they're bigger. And then about 5 days, a week later, you can go through again and harvest again. So it's really simple. If you want to eat 20 radishes a week, you plant 20 clumps, and say there's like 3 or 4 in each. That's going to do you for 3 or 4 weeks if you're harvesting 20 a week. So I think that sounds simple. So yeah, and this is just a tiny little storage container. So I'm going to only be able to fit 7 clumps of radishes in here. And like, I wouldn't recommend this with like the icicle radishes, like the radish mooley, like the big giant one you get in Spirited Away. I did it last year, but it was in a really big bed, and that worked. But they didn't work so well in the storage containers. So this is quite a deep one, luckily. Make sure you got holes at the bottom, all that kind of stuff. And also another thing I do with radishes is I pick some of the leaves when they're growing. So before they get too big, they get a bit spiky when they're big, you can just harvest a couple. So, I mean, obviously he's only got like 3 leaves, don't take one. But this chap's got 4. So again, you can, well, it's a double crop really, because you're obviously growing it for the roots, but you can go through, if you've got a clump of 20, or in this case 7, even if you only pick a couple of leaves from each. And then I do that as well with my pea shoots, so I'll show you that in a minute. So I'll finish planting this up, and then I'm going to interplant it with kale, with chard. Maybe I should do it with kale, maybe that's a vegetable, Freudian vegetable slip. So I'm going for the biggest guys as well, because I want to be able to harvest these like in the next 3 weeks really. So I've kind of planted them in like a triangle diamond shape. And the chard I have here, rainbow chard at the end here, is still really little. So the theory is, while the radishes are growing up, and by the time they've been harvested, it will be time for the chard to start taking up space. So I'm just planting these in between the holes, in the gaps of the radish. And you can kind of see when you're planting it where the most sensible place to put it is. And chard is just really good, it just keeps going and going and going. So I was still harvesting it in winter. I mean, obviously the tough leaves are like pretty got, but desperate times, desperate measures. And these things are really good as well, they're really, really quick growing. So, I mean, these could have gone out a little while before, and I've neglected them a little bit. They've been in a cold greenhouse. If you started these on your windowsill, you know, they'll be ready to plant out in sort of 2-3 weeks. I think chard's about 45 days to harvest. Radish is about, well, like 25 in the summer, but it's more likely to bolt. About 30 days maybe, 35 days. But, you know, you can still be harvesting the young whippersnapper leaves as they grow, but not too many. And I'm just taking the strongest seedlings, and the rest I'll give to the worms. Yeah, he's a good strong one. So another bit I really like to munch are these leaves here, the cotyledons. So they're like just the leaves that grow when it's the seedling, and then you see the first true leaves coming through here. I like to munch these. I don't know why. I feel like they give me special powers, like new life, like a vegetarian vampire. So here we go. And that, I should be harvesting the radishes in like 2 or 3 weeks. And I'll probably harvest more than one at a go because I love them, even when they're really small. And I've got some more coming up in here, and some salads. And let me show you the pea shoots. Okay, so the pea shoots, there's a little mushroom here, neglected, wasted mushroom. Put them here. So with these pea shoots, they're pretty densely packed in here. And I've done a little clump here, and there's a gap in the soil here. And then same here, because I'm going to sow 2 drills of peas here, maybe in like a week or something. So these guys, I'm just kind of, I've let them grow up. There was a lot more there, but I've cut the plants when they were young, and I probably got about 20 shoots that way. And then these I'm going to let grow up a little bit, because you can see here. So this is the main stem, and then you can pull this little guy off and eat him, and he'll carry on growing up and putting out more pea shoots. So again, if you have like if you have a couple of pots of these, you can be harvesting pea shoots in like 2 or 3 weeks. But yeah, so I'm going to sow some more peas this evening. I'll show you like the full process of that. Oh, and later on I'm going to sow some spring onions, and then when I've harvested the radishes and the chards have got a bit bigger, I'll put spring onions in the gaps. And another thing I'll do with spring onions in the way of like harvesting and stuff like that. Where are they now? But yeah. So rather than harvesting the whole things, I'm literally just going to chop them and use the tops, and then let them grow. Hey guys, so I'm going to show you now how to have loads and loads of harvest of peas. So you can harvest these after 3 weeks as pea shoots, and then I thin them and let a few of them grow, and then each of those plants will produce more pea shoots. Will be not as fresh and succulent and tasty as the ones you cut first. So the first ones I cut as a whole plant in about 3 weeks, and then you get a second harvest, which is like a month later. No, this is, when was this? About 6-7 weeks ago. So yeah, 3 weeks you'll get the first shoots as you thin them out, and then you'll get shoots after about 6 weeks. So you can see here they're all growing together anyway. So this is the main stem here, and this is a shoot you can take. So you get loads of pea shoots that way. And then I'll take some of these. Well, these were planted from half a block here, transplanted here, the other half was transplanted here, and I've left gaps in the soil because I'm going to do some direct sowing here as well, just in case they eat all of these as pea shoots, because I do want to leave some to actually produce nice tasty peas. So I pre-soak these, and I'm going to have to straighten this chop up, but you get the idea. You can see they're really densely spaced together. And just squish them, make sure they've got good contact with the soil. But yeah, you can do this in anything. So if you've got like mushroom punnets or even seed flats, you can do it in. But obviously just for pea shoots. The thing I like about this, they're a little bit deeper, so you can let them get some roots on them. And basically what I do when I've harvested, I kind of harvest the first ones when I transplant them. So after 3 weeks I'm transplanting about half of them into a big tub like this. But I'm eating some of them too, like the weaker looking ones. So yeah, he's dense. I'm going to get a little piece from that. addicted, so I've got a different type as well. This one's called Onward, which is like one of my favourite expressions. So it's tasty as well, really tasty. It's like buying wine based on the label. You should always buy vegetables based on random expressions. Okay, I didn't soak enough, but I could chuck some bad boys on there. Oh, maybe that would even stagger it. Someone try that and let me know. Do you like some that have been soaked and then a day or two later do some that have dried, and it might just be the perfect succession. If you do that, let me know. Bye. Oh yeah, hang about. I'm obviously going to cover these up with a little bit of soil. Okay.